This is one of the smartest money-making strategies in human history. The people who get in early get rich. And once you hear these stories, the way you think about money will never be the same again. Story 1. A man named Mike had been driving a cab in New York City since he was 30 years old. He had been doing it for more than 10 years, leaving early and coming home late every day, making nothing but hard-earned money. He always wanted to build something bigger for himself, but he could never find the right way out. Then one day, by pure chance, a wealthy businessman got into Mike's cab. Mike was a great talker, and as they kept chatting, he opened up about all his frustrations. The businessman thought Mike seemed like a decent guy, so he decided to give him an idea. He asked Mike, "How much do you make in a day driving this cab?" Mike said, "On a good day, if I get a few airport rides, I make more. If traffic in the city is terrible, I make less. Usually somewhere between $300 a day." The man said, "What if I told you I could show you how to make over $2,000 a day?" Mike thought he was bluffing, but after hearing what he had to say, Mike felt like his whole mind had been opened. He was ready to treat him like a mentor on the spot. The businessman said, "If every ride you took was an airport ride, then 10 rides a day would easily put you over $2,000, right?" Mike looked at him and asked, "But how do I make sure every customer is going to the airport?" The businessman said, "The answer is partnerships. Partner with the major hotels. Hotels always have guests heading to the airport. All you have to do is work something out with the bell staff or front desk. Anytime a guest needs a ride to the airport, they call you, you split the profit with them 80-20. They'll gladly do it because now they've got an extra stream of income." Then he said something Mike never forgot. "Every resource in this world can be used by you. The only question is whether there's something in it for the other person." And just like that, the idea got even bigger. If there were hundreds of people going to the airport every day, Mike obviously couldn't handle all those rides by himself. Because real players don't just make money by working, they make money by getting other people to work with them. So the businessman told Mike to recruit 100 other cab drivers, create an airport ride network, and dispatch the overflow rides to them. He would take his cut and they would still make more than they normally did. A lot of people would ask, why would the other drivers agree to that? But think about it. If you normally make $300 a day, and I can help you make $1,000 or more, who's really going to say no? Story 2. A woman was buried in hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt, and one sentence from a janitor changed the way she saw money forever. Not long after that, she paid it all off. She said through tears, "For the last few years, every business I touched lost money. Every investment went bad. My boyfriend left me too." The janitor listened in silence for a while. Then he pointed at the mountain trail across from a tourist park and said, "Let me ask you something. If I made you go set up a business there, how would you make money?" The woman stood up, thought for a moment, and said, "I'd carry bottled water up the mountain and sell it to tired hikers at a markup." The janitor kept shaking his head and turned as if he was about to walk away. The woman quickly stopped him and asked, "What? Isn't that a good idea?" The janitor said, "With a mindset that small, no wonder you haven't made real money." Then he said, "Look around. At the bottom of the mountain, people are buying ponchos, walking sticks, and hats. The cheapest set costs at least $15, but online those same items cost only $2 each." He continued, "So here's what you do. You buy a large batch of ponchos, walking sticks, and hats online. Then you create an offer. Any hiker who leaves a $10 deposit can borrow all 3 items for the whole day. When they come back down and return them at a designated drop-off point, they get their $10 back in full." He said, "The moment you launch that offer, hikers will flood to it, because in their minds, buying those items in a shop might cost them $30 or $40. Here, they only have to leave a deposit and get to use everything for free. To them, it feels like an amazing deal." The woman frowned and asked, "But if they use everything for free, wouldn't that be a huge loss?" The janitor smiled and said, "Not at all, because before you start, you make sponsorship deals with advertisers. When you place the wholesale order, you have the manufacturer print ads directly onto the items. 2 ads on every poncho, one on the front and one on the back. You charge enough advertising money to cover the full cost of the poncho. Do the same thing with the hats and the walking sticks. In the end, those products cost you almost nothing. The advertisers pay for everything." Then he added one more twist. "The return station shouldn't be too convenient. Put it another 20 or 30 minutes away after people come down the mountain. After hiking all day, most people are exhausted. The deposit is only $10. They already got value from the gear. A lot of them won't even bother returning it. And once that happens, the economics become beautiful. Only a tiny percentage of people will actually come back for the deposit. If you hand out 1,000 sets a day and keep even $7 of profit per set, you're making serious money every single day." When the woman heard that, she finally understood. Story 3. An older man from a small city was selling roasted sweet potatoes near a subway entrance. He separated the cooked sweet potatoes into two piles. The pile on the left cost $2 more than the pile on the right. So I asked him, why is the one on the left more expensive? He said because the ones on the left are the better kind. So I stood there and watched for a while. And I noticed that a lot of people bought the ones on the left, the more expensive ones. Some people were good at bargaining. They would talk him down and get the sweet potato from the left pile for the price of the right pile, then walk away feeling like they had won. But once the left pile sold out, the old man casually moved the sweet potatoes from the right pile over to the left side. And just like that, the premium sweet potatoes were born again. Then he looked at me and said, "Rich people buy what feels premium. Poor people buy what feels like a bargain. If you only have one pile, rich people can't tell what's special, and poor people can't tell what's cheap. They hesitate, and when people hesitate, they usually don't buy. But if you give them two piles, they'll almost always choose one of them."
Subscribe for more daily advice.